Right, chat, we're back at it. We are back at it. Start a new Claude session here. How are you this morning? We are cooking more on the docks again. More docks, and this time I got a friend. There he is. He is sleepy. It's a little chilly in here. Right, so we are going to go through the things we meant to do yesterday, but we did not get to, so let's do that. Go back to this. Issues. Docs updates. Okay, we want to modify the quick starts to show people how to add a reducer and to add a table. So let's do that. Hey, I am updating the quick start guides in the doc directory. I use Docusaurus for docs. I would like to modify the quick start guides to show users how to add a table and a reducer to each of the modules. Then I would like to show them how to call the reducer from the CLI and also to query their table with SpacetimeDB SQL. Leave the order of these operations to your discretion. Good afternoon. Just in time for the quick cat neo. Indeed. Good afternoon, X90. We are going to improve these docs, or I will pass on. By hook or by crook, we will have good docs. They're getting better. They're definitely getting better. So just as a reminder for chat, this is what we want to do. So for each quick start, like we have quick start, you start with basic React or whatever, and then at the end of this, after you explore the project structure, we just want to show you, hey, here's how you add a table, here's how you can call it, here's how you add a reducer, here's how you can call a reducer. So nothing really on the client side, because people can figure that part out, I think. But we'll do it on the server side, and we want to do it for all 4 of these. It's interesting. It's looking at LLMs, target, stuff like that. It's very interesting. It's reading our docs now. Oh, no, is that? Well, I don't know what that. No, that's right. What branch am I on? Let's check out dash B Tyler log docs 3. Just keep incrementing that. Ah, Mere Hardware. Good to see you again. In a while. How are you doing? $44,000 tokens? Oh boy. Glad to hear it. Alright, let's see. They want to add a step. The text is going to be open this place, add a person table, and an add person reducer. Now, if I'm not mistaken, if we go to that template, there already is an add person reducer. Which one is this? That it wants me to do? The React one. SpacetimeDB, source, index. There's an add reducer. It's not an add person reducer. Okay, let's go back. Let's say we gotta quit this. No. Oh no. Bollocks. Actually, revert that change. There already is a person table in that template. The templates are in templates. Escape is my friend. What will escape do? I can like pause it. Are in the templates directory. Interrupts the last command. Okay, so if I hit escape right now, it would kill that command. Checkout. Oh yeah, it wants to revert them. Okay, that's good to know. I was thinking of like trying to vibe code. It might be fun on a stream to try and vibe code a spacetime code. So instead of Claude code, it'd be just spacetime code command, and that would let you be like Claude code, but it would let you choose whatever model you want, as opposed to being locked to Claude. But that might be a big undertaking. List templates directory. It's interesting. Ordinarily, we have a lot of YouTube viewers, but right now we have a lot of Twitch viewers. I think that's because YouTube viewers have jobs. And the Twitch viewers Perhaps not. I don't know. Slander. Twitch is not pleased. I see. I see. So Chippy says they're watching from their work computer. So they do have jobs, they just don't work. That's what it is. I should have figured that out. Read from the source. Just read from source. You're allowed to read from all those directories. I should have said that generally. Okay, let's take a look at this. So they want to add Alice. But interestingly, they don't need to do this. But see, I want to be like no, and I want to modify this. That frustrates me about Claude Code is it shows me this diff, but if I say no, it will then take this code away from me. I got my stream set up at home. Gonna looking gas. I'm gonna do some Podly SDB streams pretty soon. Please let me know about that. I would really like to see that. This is a stream exclusive. I'll let the stream know that we have recorded another keynote. And speaking of gas, let me just. We're gonna drop a little hint here. Let's just say chat that we licensed this song. So just consider that for a moment. If you say no and ask for edits, I found that works. It's true, but the problem is that if I say no, I can't get access to the code. I can't see what code it wanted to write before. Yes, so we have licensed that song, and it's very good. It's better than the first keynote. I don't know if it's better. We'll see how it'll do, but it's good. I enjoy it. All right. So let's see. Open the module code. The template includes a person table and two reducers. Add and say hello. Tables store your data. Reducers are functions. Modify data. They are the only way to write to the database. Then it shows this. I use the SpacetimeDB CLI to call reducers. Add. Query from it, we can say hello. That looks good, actually. Well, let's see. However, should be just. And also, we should be publishing to main cloud in general. That is what SpacetimeDB does by default. We are streaming on Twitch as well. We're double streaming. That's where the other chat is coming from. Nice, this is looking good. Well, what is the, hold on. We have a database name problem. Oh, man. Template my spacetime app. Oh boy. So the problem here is that these names are globally unique. So if you put if you put this name here, it will try to reserve that name completely. We have a proposal to make it so that it's like namespace under your name, but we haven't implemented it yet. I think I'm going to just persist with this, and we're going to have to come and fix that. Red Rock VP, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. We are working on the SpacetimeDB docs. If you don't know what SpacetimeDB is, you can do one of these. And yeah, we're just improving it. Also, give us a star on GitHub if you want to see the code. Alex, right? Let's do it. I think my plan is to put the user experience the way that I want it, and in terms of like interface, and then we'll just make it work in the back end by updating to make it not global names. Hey, yeah, I've been tinkering with Spacetime a bit last year and taking a bit of a dev break over Christmas and see some new things in the docs. Looking pretty cool. Awesome. Are you, which language do you use? Let's read this. Rust and TypeScript currently. Makes sense. I would like to see, I haven't really met anybody who's doing TypeScript, and that's what I'm particularly intrigued by. So maybe we'll do some stuff on stream for TypeScript, because I think that's just powerful to have both server and client in one language, and we're doing some testing. We currently have TypeScript up to like 2x different from where Rust is, and we're looking to get up to basically no difference, at least for the particular things that we're doing. You started messing with the TypeScript module line. What have you run into? Any positive or negative feelings? This looks correct also. This is wrong. Why did that happen? That's crazy. No. No, let's actually modify the C# template to be semantically identical to the Rust and TypeScript one. Also, thank you so much for the follow. I missed the name. I saw it briefly, but if you're in chat, drop a chat message. If you're not familiar with SpacetimeDB, we are a server-side backend. Name is, unfortunately, this does not work, but it should, but it doesn't. I think it doesn't. Does anybody know? Switch over to Twitch since it seems you're less responsive on YouTube. That is just because I have that open, but fair play. By the way, the keynote for SpacetimeDB was so good. Setting up a home lab with some old laptops at cumulative time. How does Spacetime work on home labs? Works great. I have one myself. So good. Easily one of the best I have ever seen for open source tech. Amazing work, my man. Thank you so much. I actually super appreciate that. We put a lot of work into that. You've been following since we dropped the keynote. Awesome. Have you built anything with SpacetimeDB yet? Okay, let's... The problem is, does anybody actually know in C#, is this a thing, or is this a fever dream? The name Say Hello. I don't think it is. It should be, but it's not, I think. Drop the... I don't think we support that yet. You think it is a thing in C#? Can you confirm that for me, Chibi? Well, I don't know. You're probably at work working on things, but if anybody in chat can confirm that very quick, because I don't have the C# set up right now. I mean, I guess I could. Big Rust ahead. I've been looking forward to build more Rust using Bevy and Spacetime as my main backend. Nice. At least a substrate for the game. I built a few clones just to get acquainted with the platforming tools. Makes sense. Beerbag in the Discord is big into Bevy as well. And he's working on the team now. Excellent. Actually, I lied. Computer supported. My greatest barrier has been that I am a terrible artist. There's so much art involved in game development, almost more than the logic sometimes. It certainly can be. We are very fortunate to have some great artists on the Big Crap team. But you can build a lot of stuff with like either janky art or art assets, at least for Unity, which is maybe doesn't apply to Bevy as much. Or if you're just developing, you you can always use AI, but there's a lot of discussion with respect to that. Okay, let's do this. And then we'll take a look at the situation at the end. The local host. $3,000. It doesn't look like that's updated. Let's restart. Oh, it's building. Any plans for a SpacetimeDB package manager? Basically, yes. Actually, we're kind of starting that a little bit. Like, templates is sort of the first step with that, where you can clone a full project into your thing. But it would also be very cool to have you be able to install like a package that you can use in your module. So like, oh, if somebody's already worked out how to do interfacing with Stripe or something, you can just pull that in. The detail with that is like, we would love to be able to support cross-language packages, because then you kind of need every language, like in every language you have to have every package. So it would be really very cool if you could have a multi-language module where somebody wrote a package in Rust, but you're actually importing it into the TypeScript. That would be very powerful. What is going on here? Well, it isn't all WASM in the end, actually. TypeScript is JavaScript. That's one of the problems. And also their APIs are not the same, so like we basically, what we need is the feature that allows you to call a reducer in the database, like call a reducer not through the actual function, but through a subtransaction. And that would allow you to do that. So that would be like CTX dot, I'll just put it up here. I'll put in this, CTX, I'll put in my search bar, dot reducers dot foobar, right? And then in principle, if you sort of imported a package from another language or whatever, that this will be available on the context. So like, do Stripe thing or whatever. It would be super cool. I wonder though, should we just drop a package manager which is language to language the same and then do the other thing later? The only problem is you might sort of fork community. Would that not cause naming conflicts if you don't have the package name in front? I mean, that name spacing is generally a good idea, but you could certainly do that. So you could do, I guess like ctx.reducer, like ctx.stripe.reducers. Something like that could be reasonable. That's true. I think the problem is actually not for community release packages. It's like if we wanted to support them, let's say we wanted to support a Stripe package. Well, we have to write it in Rust, and we have to write it in C#, and we have to write it in TypeScript, we have to write it in C++, and so on. And then every time we add a new language, it gets more, right? It's really about official support for packages that we would have the problem. Because if they're not officially supported and we just throw out like, hey, yeah, people can make packages, that's fine. But I think in order to get adoption for the package manager, you would need, I guess you could just not do official packages. Yeah. There are a few that I would like to do. I think like sending emails, Stripe, maybe like cron jobs. We could do like in-game chat. We could do an inventory one. That's stuff that I guess we could do, and I think it would be really cool. But maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should just say like, hey, look, we have a package manager, go to town. This is how it works. Could be. All right. 3, explore your project structure. 4, understand tables and reducers. Open spacetime source index. See the module code. The template includes a person table and 2 reducers. Add. to insert a person and say hello to greet everyone. Table store your data. Reduces our function of modify data, m dash, meaning we used AI, whatever. They are the only way to write to the database. Not strictly true, but good enough as an abstraction. Query the person table. Call say hello to greet everyone. I'm gonna actually just let's say this is looking really good. However, let's modify it to also show the output of the spacetime CLI commands. You should run this locally to test, to gather what the output will be with that code. So it is a lot of work. I don't know. Hey, I got a question about SpacetimeDB. Can I use SpacetimeDB with GPL code? Which GPL? But I also think the answer is certainly the we have a GPL license, so certainly with that version of SpacetimeDB, but can you do it with existing ones? We have a linking exception, so it depends, I guess, on what you mean by... Actually, the answer is yes, you can, because we have a linking exception, which means we don't want any of your code to... We don't want to say anything about what your code does. We only want to say something about what our code does. So I believe the answer is yes. Now let's see what this does. On the key architecture page, TypeScript Producer example shows 57N. I think that's a small typo. Let's take that out. Chip, you gotta save these up for the bounty. I'm not sure that that is a small typo. That is a big int, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that is actually correct. That's how you do. How can I say that a literal number is a big int in TypeScript? Yeah. If you have inter-module communication and you have namespace, would it not be a better solution for packages? Every package is its own module and you have a namespace with package name version. You're actually correct, Mere Hardware. That is how I would like to do it. But there's a distinguishment between do I have this in... I have this on my laptop, so I can't show it to you. Let's maybe open up Excalidraw. This is an interesting topic, so I'm gonna just pop up an Excalidraw. We'll do some learning here. Okay, so we're getting flashbanged. Is there like a... How do I do dark mode? There we go. Very good. Okay, so let's imagine that this is your SpacetimeDB database. And in your database, you have also... I'll do this thing. Why is that not the right color? Oh, I need the background. This is the commit log. There is... Oh man, hold on. Let me open this on my laptop because I want to know what I wrote. Did I do it in Keynote? What did I do it in? No, I did it in like some weird Mac application that you draw. I don't remember the name of. It's like Shapes or something, because Apple always names things that way. Does anybody know what the Mac like diagramming app is called? Ready? What? macOS diagram. First party app. I swear they had this. Freeform. There it is. I think that's where it is. It is. Okay, so let me just remind myself. Okay, yes. So there's a lot of tricky things to consider here. Maybe it's not so tricky. Let me just... think a second. Okay, so let's say you have an app. We're gonna just be like, we're gonna do Bitcraft for a second. So let's say that this is Bitcraft. Let's do this background. Fine. So this is Bitcraft. Now Bitcraft has multiple databases. Each database has its own commit log. So let's do like one database. Maybe this is easier than I thought. I will just recall real quick here. Database 1. This is not a good job, but whatever. Then we'll have database 2. And we'll call this data store. Can I make this background not? Let's do blue. Data store. Data store. What you are proposing is that these things need to be done synchronously. So basically, Bitcraft in principle can have databases that talk to each other asynchronously, which is like them sending messages between each other. Maybe I should not have moved them quite so close together. I can do this. Right, they're communicating with each other. But then in principle, what you are kind of saying is you want more than one database writing to the same commit log. So in a sense, what I should do is this. A database is not necessarily the same commit log. A commit log is an ordered set of transactions, and in order to do something transactionally, you need to be able to write to the same commit log. So we're saying like, okay, database 1 has this, but then we also basically want to have a package, right? So let's call this package 1. But the package is writing to the same commit log, and it's got like, it's sort of like, really, we should call this, you just give me a second. It does start with an F. Thank you. Freeform is correct. Regarding GPL, I'm looking at persistent building online game. I mean, Quake 1 source port is GPL v2. I believe you're fine. I am not a lawyer, but I believe we designed it correctly to allow that to be the case. That is certainly the goal. The goal is that we don't make any of your code open source, and and ours is GPL anyway, so I think it all, you have to check if like GPL licenses. The question is, will you make our code open source? But it is only the GPL, I don't know, it's a little confusing. Right, I need to get this right for my own sanity. Okay, so we have a database, but there needs to be a bigger thing around this called a partition, is the problem. Right? So, a partition. This is saying nothing of the modules yet, but that's fine. So this is a partition, this is a partition, but now also, right, what I can do is, let me just take this actually and copy and paste it. Let's say these are a partition. Please don't. is kind of what I want to say. So you've got your package and you've got your database, and that forms a partition. And basically a partition is equal to commit log, those are the same. And then what we could allow you to do is like synchronously call. So this is like async intermodule communication, and this is synchronous intermodule communication. Let me make sure I have that correct. And then in principle, basically each database can have its own module. So let's put that up there. Make a nice little diagram here. We'll color our modules. Let's do like light blue. Well, yeah, let's do, hold on. This is an interesting idea. Let's just continue with this. So this is, let's say, module 1, which corresponds to database 1. And let's say this is module 2. And then let's say this is like package module 1. So let's say we had Bitcraft. And now what's interesting is that you've got what we just talked about, right? So you can basically just call other databases, but they're inside your database. Why can't it be two different databases with their own commit logs? Because they need to be, in order to be easily, you can have them be two different databases, there's no problem with that, but it's not very easy to use. So for example, if I wanted to do, let's say I wanted to pull in your package and it sent emails, and I want to be able to, in my reducer, write to your database. So let's say basically I want to call your reducer, and that will modify a table to insert an email or something into your table for sending emails. Or I want to call in, I want to do it synchronously. Because maybe I want a value back out. Like I want to, maybe email's not the best example, but let's say I have a leaderboard thing, or you have an inventory package. We'll make it a little bit simpler. So you have inventory. So you have created a module, it has tables, it's got tables about inventories and stuff. And then I want to be able to call a reducer on your database within my reducer. And I want to be able to get the value, like let's say I have like an insert. So my thing is going to be like CTX, zoom in here, dot inventory dot add item stack toolbar. Right, so I have an inventory thing, and that's cool, and we're going to do that. But then I need to know, like, oh, how many are left over, or something like that. Like, let's say it only adds some, I guess reducers dot add inventory, blah blah blah. So then I get left over. I need to be able to do this synchronously because I don't want to just send a message to this other module. I want to be able to get it back. In order to do that synchronously, either we need to do a distributed transaction, very, very slow, right? So you could do it like with two-phase commit or something, or maybe not two-phase commit. Yeah, I guess you could do two-phase commit. No, you'd have to do two-phase commit or something thereabout. And then you get the result. But you're holding open the reducer that we're in the whole time. So like if we're in, reducer, like add item. I need to know when precisely in my commit log this other thing happened. This other module's change happened. And so what I would like to do is have it, I need to get the result from that reducer like immediately. I'm not just sending a message. I'm not sending an asynchronous message. I'm actually calling the function as though it were in my module almost, but I'm just calling it on your module. Then I need it immediately. And if I need it immediately, it needs to be the same commit log so that I can order them directly. Otherwise, I have two commit logs and I have to make sure that they stay in sync. And that is a hard problem. Issues with upgrading and downgrading packages, would that not brick commit logs? No, it wouldn't. I think we would do something intelligent where like it's one logical commit log, but actually they're split up into namespaced databases, like more than one. Right now, a commit log corresponds to one database, but there's no reason why it couldn't just be this transaction on this database and then that transaction on that database, and vice versa, like indefinitely. It's just an ordered list of things that have happened. And the important thing is that we can order them, so I can know, like, okay, first. Well, really, this would need to be a sub-transaction almost. So it's maybe a little bit more complicated, but I don't think it should prevent it. But this is then the ultimate world, right? Because then what I could do is just, okay, cool. I want to import a package. I'll just import a package. It's got its own tables. It's got its own address. My app is made up of a bunch of different databases, a bunch of different partitions. Each partition has a collection of databases, and then I can just use them. One thing about that, though, is like, there's some details, because I don't just want to have one. Maybe I want to have a bunch of inventory databases. Like, there's something missing here, I think. Anyway, we've gone pretty far afield from the thing, but this is an interesting diagram. What I'm thinking about essentially is the fact that, like, well, you probably want to have multiple instances of a. So there's a difference between a module and a database. Like, one module could have many databases, or one module could be in many databases, or however you want to think about it. There's a many-to-many relationship between modules and databases. Like, I can use the same module for more than one database. And in this case, one database can have multiple modules. I guess I'm not doing that. One partition can have multiple modules. There's a many-to-one relationship. And when you address one, you really want to address its name. You don't want to address the module. Like, really what you want is not this. You want, like, inventory, my database name. Like, which would, I guess, be package 1, or something like that, which is not super fun. But if you fix the oh, okay, hey, you can do this in the one-to-one relationship, then I don't need this. So that's what's different about intermodule communication. Is like, I can take the same module and I can spin up thousands of them. They all have the same API. But with packages, what I want to do is I want to say, like, I want to add one instance of this thing to my database, sort of as though it's part of my database. I don't need the many-to-one. It's an interesting question, but that is, I think, the key difference. Is that right? Yeah. We're keeping that a little secret for now, to be honest. 2.0 is, I guess I will say, just a collection of breaking changes we've wanted to make for a while. We've been releasing a lot of the 2.1 things as we go. The 2.0 things. Where everyone can phone home. What do you mean by phone home? Oh, I see. A module where they can all talk to each other. You can use procedures, or honestly, you can just have a thing that if you're willing to host it, you can subscribe. Yeah, so one thing you can do right now is you can use procedures for that. That's a bit of a hack, but it will work. What we do in Bitcraft, if you're curious, is we just have like a relay server, relay service. I don't know, it's like stateless, and it sits outside and it just says like, oh hey, listen to these things and then write it back to like a global database, which is unfortunate. So intermodular communication obviously would help that. So you just don't have to do this. You can just have a database subscribe to another database or send messages to another database. That would be ideal. But we need to make sure that whereas our link in Bitcraft is like, a little janky, we need to make it less janky in SpacetimeDB. And that requires thinking. And right now, our docs don't work. So like, we gotta focus on that. It's very interesting though. Okay, let's continue. Okay, the problem here is that you should be doing cargo run. Maybe CLI. Or whatever, because some of the changes are not shipped yet. Can I update SpacetimeDB? No, we did version 2. Spacetime dev - help. Oh, template's not in there. Yiminy cremini crow. Yeah, I didn't want the clients to be able to send bad data, so I wanted the module to send the stats and usage stuff automatically in build. Schedule procedures. Yes. I think those are merged already. They are certainly in other languages, maybe not in C#, but I thought they were. While we're waiting, well, let's see. Let's do this. Let's look at this. The new WebSocket format. Remove total host execution duration micro. Let's see. Reduce, separate, reducers. Let's check our mod. Hello, welcome in. Happy to answer your question. I have a question. Any kind of wish I can show and present in my final year project would be very helpful if you helped me. I mean, are you talking about with building SpacetimeDB? You're not talking about SpacetimeDB. What are you in reference to here? Any kind of way. You have a question, any kind of which I can show. I don't understand. Do. Nice. This is pretty cool, not gonna lie. I would say there's one other difference. Let's go back to this for a second. There's two differences. A difference between a package and INC. So I would say one is package would have one-to-one relationship with the database. And two, package would be atomically published with the database. Right, like that would be the big difference there. I mean, we could do just not quite atomic, but you kind of need it to be atomic. Like I want, let's say I have a reducer. There's some details there. There's some tricky details. Thank you so much for the follow. I missed the name. Why do I keep missing the name? And also, maybe it's in my... thing, yeah. But basically, yeah, it's the atomic update. Like, I need to make sure that I can't change. Like, what happens if I change the name? They have to be version controlled, and it's tricky. It requires a little bit of thought. Essentially, we want to, maybe not atomically, but at least at the same time as. At least together with. But it is similar. Like, for example, you might not know this today, but if I go to SpacetimeDB.com and I go to this, we have databases here, because this is actually a project, but a project is really just a root database that has children databases. So you can imagine having a child database where I have a bunch of children. I have like an inventory database, and I have a Stripe database, and I have a whatever database, and they're children, and I update them, and maybe they all, maybe they do or do not, maybe they're like synchronous children or something where they're actually part of the same database or part of the same partition. There's some, it's just tricky, and I wish I could just have it be done, to be honest. I need AI to take over so that I can just have it work. Speaking of, how's our AI cooking? Let's add Bob. Could I have done this myself and had it output these 3 lines? I sure could have, but wasn't it more interesting to make sure that we tested it? It's all about testing. Do you have any kind of project which will solve a problem which is not much of a big project? So you were looking for a project idea? This is my deployment in PXE boot server with an AOI. Whoa, PXE, don't know what that is. Don't know what a boot server is. Don't know what AOI is. And I surely don't also know what Google is. This is not open code. It probably should be. This is Claude Code. I just heard about open code today. I didn't know this was a thing. Which came first? Claude Code or open code? Probably open code, I'm imagining. So it looks like it was started 4 months ago. Have you guys used OpenCode? I talked over with Bobby Gaines like 6 months ago, and we basically came to the conclusion you need to build your own NPM to make it work nicely. SpacetimeDB has one advantage that you can auto see if a package is breaking. True. OpenCode has a long and complicated history, but they started around the same time. Is it a long history? When did they start? It looks like it's only 4 months old. Well, from a cursory glance at these, like this is the oldest I can see on here, turbo.json. Oh no, it's about a year old. Is that a long history? Because I surely don't think so, given that I've been working on SpacetimeDB for like 8 years. Yeah, it is eons. Started around the same time. They split and moved repos after a maintainer dispute. Okay. I've seen this guy on Twitter, but I don't know. What is SST? So is there a difference between Claude Code and OpenCode? Oh, are you saying I could search that on Google? This one? Serverless stack, that's another wrapper on AWS services, if I recall correctly. Thank you. Let's have a look at the changes. Actually, let's not look here, let's look at the actual project. Open code uses a lot of Claude Code's conventions, skills, hooks, so it's easy to try out if you want. Okay. Claude Code and Open Code are very similar. I prefer Claude Code, but I've used both. Thank you. Can you use local models with Open Code? You can. Awesome. I mean, here's a question for chat. We've considered making like Spacetime Studio or Spacetime Code or something like that, like where I can do Spacetime. Maybe I just do Spacetime Code. But I wonder if it's just better to leave that to like Open Code and really deeply integrate with it, so you can just create an app easily. Leave it to Open Code? No, the docs are so good. I don't understand. That seems like leave it to Open Code, yes. Chad. Nice name. You're generally correct. But I really, what I need is it for it to be like absolutely stupidly easy to build an application with AI with SpacetimeDB. So like, I guess we just really have to work on the context like a lot, making sure it's really easy to understand and so on. I tried like 8 times with value code SpacetimeDB. Where it struggles is in the context, which I solved. And the visibility into the running system. Doesn't understand how it works intuitively. Which means that's just an us problem. Like we should just provide it with better context. Let me also say, what we could do is part of the bounty program is we could just anybody who like this is the main thing. This is very hard because we just spent a lot of time on this. To make sure it's all correct and stuff like. But if other people want to contribute their changes, we now have an LLM docs benchmark, right? So every PR that we change the docs, the benchmark is updated, and we could say like, hey, if you improve our benchmark on the docs, we will grant you a bunch of energy. So that could be a fun system. Okay, so this is the React one. This is the TypeScript one. This is the Rust one. That looks good. Where are the LLM benchmarks located? It's a good question. They're in docs, actually. So docs. So the actual thing that runs them is in tools, but if you go to docs and you go to LLMs, these are the results of the benchmarks. The tool that actually runs it is Cargo LLM, because we have a tool called. Sorry, it's Cargo LLM benchmark. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's Cargo LLM. I don't remember exactly how that works. But basically, this is how you can run it. You can run it yourself if you want. You need like OpenAI API keys. So like for example, on our pull requests, if you change the docs, you have to. Maybe I think I did one on mine author. Yeah, it's merging, but like you can see here's the benchmark. So update LM benchmark, and now it says like, okay, and we don't even have TypeScript in here yet, but we will. So this is benchmarking our docs. So it's not benchmarking the LLMs. This is just taking, I think, GPT 5.2, and it's running it against like the tests. And you can see actually that we pass a lot more tests in C# than we do in Rust right now. It should really also show you like the previous one, but you can look at the diff if you want to see what the previous one did. And it's a little bit finicky. Like we should probably try to stabilize it. Like you can see actually this change made this worse, slightly actually reduced the number of tests, which is a little sus. Did I decrease the number of tests? I don't think I did. I definitely did not. There might have been some change from master. But then the passing percentage is this. Let's check what we're doing there. Okay, so let's go back to, I think, make these changes. Let's go there. So add a table reducer, call the reducer, query the table. Let's see what else. I think I actually might have to, I have to do a meeting. So I will probably end the stream, but then come back after about 30 minutes. That is what I'm thinking. Do you have any advice for a grumpy guy who cringes whenever he hears about AI and vibe coding? I feel like my hate is very unwarranted, but I can't get that out of my mindset. It's an interesting question. What I would say is, I will give you three things. One is the person who came up with the term vibe coding is actually very smart. His name is it Andrew? No, Andre. He's the Andre Carpathy. Thank you. A very intelligent person, and he's just saying like, hey, you know, I'll just kind of throw it out there. It's slop programming, or at least it was at the time. People are using it now a lot. Thank you for the follow. So that's number one. Number two is, I would say, just embrace your laziness, which is to say, well, let me back up. The number two is really like what it will save us all from is the drudgery of like keeping things like docs in sync, and the things that I'm working on right now, where it's like we'll just have a better quality product, because if you use this tool well, like people are going to use it poorly, but you can use it well. I think, to make sure that you just have a higher quality product overall, where you have better documentation, you have better testing, you can get started more easily. Like forget about, let's say you're just thinking about vibe coding from the perspective of, oh, here's this new tool, I want to try it out. Normally that would require like I put aside a whole weekend of my time to like learn it and get an idea. But I want to just start by just saying like, all right, make a thing, and then I'll explore what it made. And I think that can be extremely useful. And I think those are the main two reasons that we want to use it for SpacetimeDB. Is one, to get people. SpacetimeDB is a new and interesting and weird idea. If I can get people involved in the project or started with SpacetimeDB much faster because of AI, like that's 1,000% worth it for everybody. So I think that is the thing. And then the third is to just, like I said, embrace the laziness. And say, I don't want to have to write. It's not that. It's like, I don't want to have to be extremely meticulous to make sure that I do everything. I can kind of automate some of that to check and fix and do this thing. I wouldn't have it write my code live, like in production yet. Not reliable for that. I do not trust any form of vibe code in any form of network environment. I would rather handwrite it. I mean, I agree, but like we're talking about, for example, the docs here. Most of your LLM tests are failing because Spacetime Publish fails. I didn't see it failing. Let's create a PR. So that's what I would say. Good answer, thanks for that. I do love embracing laziness. I guess we're still in the early stages where too many people are using AI poorly, so it looks bad in general to me. I mean, I would agree with that. The reason I don't have a big problem with it is I'm not involved in all the conversations about it, because a lot of people talk, they say a lot of things, and it's all silly. And then the other is like, I have picked a project which is scoped way too large. And it has a lot of like, oh, I have 6 languages. It's just very wide. It's a very wide problem. So I see AI as like a way to save me from the muck a little bit. Like it makes it a little bit more tractable. And so I can have a more ambitious project. It cannot really make sure things are correct or do things. It can't add big features. It can't do things, but it can save me from some of the muck, I think. Maybe one day we'll be able to do more than that. I don't know. All that we've seen in AI from 2006 till now is like, whoa, we made it bigger and it got better. So I suspect that trend will continue. Assuming that it doesn't get so grotesquely expensive that it slows down because of that. I mean, PRs. Oh, I see. You're looking at the actual output. I haven't done that in depth yet. Spacetime Publish fails. And why does it publish fail? This seems like something to work on, I suppose. But publish can fail because it's... Well, I don't know why publish could fail in this case. WeaselTech says, AI always gets better, but never gets there. Depends on, yeah, it's true. It depends on where there is. I was talking with Chris Latner one time, and I said, I have a theory, which is that by the time AI can properly drive cars, or can be trusted to drive cars, we will have AGI, and the world will be taken over by robots anyway. So it's actually an impossible to achieve task, because either you go all the way there or you're not. And what he said to me was, I think correct, which was basically like, well, it depends what you mean by all the way there. Like, there are self-driving cars now. And I think he's correct. Chris Latner is a very intelligent person. Why did you feel to release the TypeScript SDK? It seems like adding much more scope with each SDK. It is the TypeScript SDK. It's a question of like value, and TypeScript and JavaScript are by far the most popular languages, and so there's the amount of people that SpacetimeDB is available to is much smaller if it's just Rust and C#. I think it also limits what people can imagine it can be used for. So like you could use SpacetimeDB to build a complex web page or web app or app, but people just had it in their minds like, no, it's only for games because it's got C# and Rust and various other things. And I think we wanted to say like, actually, no, this is a general purpose database. Like we use it for our game, that's true, but you can go much beyond that. So that is why we felt the need to release the TypeScript SDK. Also, it kind of made sense. We had Rust, TypeScript, and C# clients, but we only had Rust and C# servers, so it would make sense to do C#. I had TypeScript on the server. We actually had a Python SDK a long time ago, but we did not. It was too much to maintain. WASM give too much trouble to maintain? Not really. WASM's been fine. If I could have written TypeScript and had TypeScript compiled to WASM, I would have done that, but it can't be done. I mean, it can, but not performantly, because you don't know sizes of things statically at runtime in TypeScript, so you need a very intelligent JIT compiler to figure out what the sizes actually are and then dynamically create them, and so it just wouldn't be as good as using V8. Turns out Google spent a lot of money making V8 work well. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to take a break here. So as we got this new PR up for Claude Docs, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna do a meeting. I might eat some food. Why is this change here? We'll have to figure that out. Oh, probably because I'm based on the other branch. We'll make these changes, and we'll continue the docs. So next up on the list, I think is, let's see, what is next on the list of changes? Including the tables and indexes page, which is currently very light on details. So if you're curious, that's this page. That's the wrong app. Dang it. Dang it. So tables, we have columns, types, and constraints. This should be split up into two things, which is like columns, and then constraints. Indexes too is like, this is what we got. And Lord knows there's a lot more information about indexes, so we should put it in there. Like querying ranges and hash indexes and all kinds of things that we could do. We have direct indexes, which is a thing. So we should at least have a little discussion about indexes. And the benefits of adding indexes and removing indexes, and if you guys have anything that we should add there, let me know. I opened a PR to help with the React lifecycle issue from yesterday. Thank you, Doug. Let me see. Add connection manager for robust React lifecycle handling. I'm a little bit hesitant to merge something like this because I just fixed a bunch of changes on this. I'll have to take a deeper look. Connection manager. What type is that? It's a class. The problem is you have to be very careful with React state, because it does shallow diffing. So like the reason these are in a state thing is because if these change, React will re-render, and if this changes, React will not re-render. Although it says manager connection state, so I'll have to look at this more deeply. What do you have in the PR description? Could you add a section that talks about the motivation to do this? Like, this is what you have done, but why? I'm also using sync external store, so this doesn't make any sense. React for 10 years. This is modeled on TANStack query. It stores a singleton outside of React. But we're already storing it in a singleton outside of React. And we already use React, whatever, store. I'm a little sus on this. We'll have to see. I would love, yeah, if you could put the motivation in there, that'd be helpful. Okay, I will talk to you later. I gotta run. We are going to... I don't know. I think I'm just gonna end the stream because I don't really have anyone to... No, let's raid Timbo Day. It's been a while. And I'll be back.